And now that we have completed London, it is time for E Pluribus Unum. Time to go to the United States of America. This is going to be our last easy chapter before things get difficult. Colonel, trying to sneak around the guards, but my ass is so thick that it keeps clapping. I'm dummy thick. Clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting guards. There we go, that's actually how it goes. Can't believe I forgot the line. Clearly my brain is not dummy thick after 9 hours-ish of FGO. Time for a thing that makes some stuff in Babylonia completely nonsensical? Are you talking about how we jog across the entirety of the US in a pretty short period of time? Because I'll be honest, that does make a couple things that come up later not make the most sense. Now Genova's theme is just stuck in my head because it's so good. Oh well, what can you do? Oh, you're talking about the people who die in Singularity Sing Dead. That was, he actually even walks that back. That was Gilgamesh testing our resolve. I don't know if you remember him walking that back, but they do. He does? Yep, he does. He does. Because I remember going like, wait, that doesn't make any sense if this and that, and then he's like, just testing you. Now, crazy kid, get over here, and he gives you a noogie, and you're like, Uncle Gil, stop. And then he noogies you too hard, and you start crying. Let me see, what other media exists that isn't horror but has a really good horror section out of nowhere? Oh, I know. Hat in Time. There's a whole level that's essentially a horror level, and it's really good. Prior to that, it's all happy, fun, sunshiny times, platforming around the world, and then they're like, okay, now have fun in the Resident Evil mansion while a monster is stalking you. Enjoy, kid.
我が進化よ。玉座の支度はできていますか？
では講習。
目をよく言いました。モルゴース。
Wait, isn't it the West Coast that Mavis taken over and not the East Coast? Pretty sure it is. I don't remember E Pluribus Unum too particularly well, if I'm being honest with you.
さて、どこから潰したもの？目を背けないで。よく言いました。逃がすものか。
なんだ？
死になさい。あまり悩ませないように。よくいい判断です。そう、いいでしょう。私の足元で許しを乞いなさい。落ちよ、ロードレス・キャメロット。何を喜んでいるのです。私が出たのです。勝利は約束されていたはずです。
Might have just been a capital build. I'd like go at one point in time to I could go check it at some point, but honestly, the writing for E Pluribus Unum isn't good enough for me to care about going back to. I'm being completely transparent.
Mm. よく言いま目を背けないで。逃がすものか。罠。内側から壊れる。手に入らないのなら。手に入らないのなら。よく言いました。よくいい判断です。死になさい。モルゴース。よく言いました。それは絶えず見た滅びの夢。最果てにありながら鳥は明日を見たんでしょう。ロードレス・キャメロ。
最上に近い勝利。戦う前に勝つくらいでなければ。
I am excited to go to Camelot after this, though, because I'll get to see if the difficulty spike is enough to overcome the power that is Morgan. He does have anti-round table trait, yes. Oh, chat, did you guys see that Tekken 8 has fallen to mixed and almost poor reviews on Steam at this point because of the Battle Pass and microtransactions added after the fact of its release. People are not particularly happy with the $45 ball that you can buy. There's a battle pass? There is a battle pass, yeah. And I think they're doing that bullshit thing where if you don't own a character, you're not allowed to, like, practice against AI of them or anything like that. So because Eddie Gordo just came out, a lot of people are finding that out and are not happy about that either.
神戸を垂れよ恐怖は希望もない何人も通るにあたわず分断する死になさい
犠牲が少なければそれでも勝利
And like Tekken 8 has this really good thing in it where if you're watching a replay of a match, you can take over a character during the replay and then try something different, right? But if you don't own Eddie and you fight against Eddie, you can't even take over the replay on your side on the replay to try some new shit against Eddie and see if maybe something else would have worked. There's no practicing against him. There's no labbing his stuff unless you own it. And that is some bullshit.
Unum.
逃がすものか式はこうしてあげるもの食べなさいいい目を背けないで慈悲だ神戸を垂れよ恐怖は希望もない何人も通るにあたわずやっと血がたぎってきたのに終わりだなんていつの世も反乱分子は
And apparently, you can't buy Tekken 8's Season Pass without the $40 deluxe upgrade either. So yeah, just lots of after-release stuff is really rubbing people the wrong way. Which, it should. It definitely should. That's some bullshit is, you know. Some real bullshit is what I would say.
ではこうしよう
手に入らないのなら目を覚よく言いました逃がすものかモルゴース分断する
But I'll also say it's not particularly surprising because fighting games and overly expensive bullshit microtransactions have gone hand in hand for a long time now. さてどこから潰したもの And to think this could have all been avoided if 15 years ago somebody didn't buy a fucking horse armor from Bethesda.
最果てにありながら鳥は明日を歌うでしょう。ロードレスキャメロット。何を喜んでいるのです。私が出たのです。勝利は約束されていたはずですわ。
And that horse crap was the origin of this shit. It's commonly pointed to because it's one of the very first examples of stupid cosmetic microtransactions that a bunch of people bought into, and then a bunch of corporate suits raised their eyebrows and said, "You're willing to pay for that, you say? Well, now you have my attention." It's not the only thing. Not a lot of people point their finger, but I like to point my finger a little bit at Steam, Valve, and TF2 hats. Because I think that was also a massive catalyst for a lot of these microtransaction things. TF2 was doing that stuff before a lot of other games, you know what I mean? As much as I like Valve for a lot of stuff, I'm not gonna like ignore them for when they do shitty stuff. And boy, was that shitty! The TF2 hats, because that was also a large deciding factor in corporations raising their eyebrow and going, "You're willing to pay how much for that?" I see. You're willing to pay how much for possibly getting that by gambling on loot boxes? TF2 hats are trash? I mean, for the most part, yeah. But here's the thing. Like, everyone says that, oh, as long as the microtransactions are just cosmetics, then it's fine and it's not a big deal. No. Cosmetics are important in games. After all, have you seen games like Dark Souls where people will actively avoid wearing optimal stuff because fashion? And hell, we're seeing like the worst progress of it, where kids are getting bullied in school for not having cosmetic outfits in games like Fortnite. So we're seeing like active, at least psychological repercussions for selling cosmetics as opposed to just baking them into the game. Kids would bully others for playing Fortnite. No, they play the Fortnite too. Look, everyone had some sort of cringe shit that they did as a kid or a teenager. Blah blah. I don't care if they like Fortnite. I don't like Fortnite, but I don't like shooting in general, so I would never was. Well, that's not true. I don't like competitive multiplayer shooting, because I suck horribly at it. My experience playing any competitive shooting game is I walk 2 steps, I get shot, and I die.
出陣します
Repeat when I
私の
respawn.
後に続きなさい
Not the most fun gameplay in my opinion.
簡単に終わらないようによくいい判断です
Let you be a grumpy old man? No. Listen, Flame Right, we need to band together
魔女ですの
with the younger generation, not push them away. We need to bring them into the fold. No more generational wars. Instead, only class wars. We must seize the means of production with them,
目を
brother.
背け言いましたそういいでしょう
Seize the
私の
means
足
of
元で許
production.
しをこいなさい落ちよロードレスキャメロット
I guess I'll say this. I like shooters that aren't trying to be like realistic shooters for multiplayer stuff.
いい判
Like
断です
Team Fortress 2, I like that. You know, you got classes, you got health bars, you got different abilities with your guns and stuff in your class.
落ちよ
Uh,
ロードレスキャメロット
Overwatch I would have liked if it wasn't TF2, but
何を
not as
喜んでい
good
るのです
when it came out.
私が出たのです
But I really don't like
勝利が約束されていた
the realistic shooting game where you get shot like twice in the chest and you're dead or stuff like that. I don't mind a headshot one-shotting you because that's how shooting works. The head is the weak point. But like if someone shoots me in the ankle with a sniper rifle and I go down instantly, I'm like, oh, come on, for fuck's sake. What about realistic but co-op, such as Ready or Not? That's fine. Because I can... Here's the thing. I can get better than AI. I don't think I can get better than people who play the game 27 hours a day. I don't really have the best fast twitch reaction muscles in me when it comes to split-second reaction stuff.
あまり悩ませないように楽しめるでしょう展
But,
開逃がすもの
like,
許すものか
I've played and beaten both Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal on the second hardest difficulty, the one that isn't permadeath.
トールにあたわず何を喜んでいるのです私が
And like, I've had fun with Payday 2, I've had fun with Left 4 Dead, even Ready or Not is solidly fun once you start getting a little used to it. The only thing that miffed me when I tried Ready or Not with Cherno Noro and Hellblind is you're supposed to like apprehend suspects instead of killing them, and boy do they never ever actually give up and only shoot at you forever. So there's no so you just get dock points for killing people. Maybe it was like because it was still very early in the game's development, maybe the AI was a little over aggressive. But still.
任せなさいふさわしい敵であれば容赦
The thing that actually excited me about Ready or Not was it reminded me of the old SWAT games.
モルゴース分断する
Where you would, you know, lead a SWAT team and then go in and clear out whatever the hostage situation is and get people to surrender, stuff like that. I was like, oh, cool. I like those games.
いい目を背けないで死になさい逃がすものか
But unlike the SWAT games, the enemies do not surrender in Ready or Not. Never ever. I think we got one guy to surrender ever in like multiple days of playing,
手に入らない
and everyone else was just shooting us on sight.
それは絶えず見た滅びの夢。最果てにありながら鳥が明日を歌うでしょう。ロードレスキャメロ。
I did get one really good run where everyone else died like halfway through the level, and I cleared the other half of the level by myself, and I felt like a Giga Chad. So there was that. I was like, holy shit, I actually did good in a shoot game for once. Yay! Or like Halo. Halo's another shooting game that I'd be fine playing like multiplayer competitive on, mostly because, again, the whole walk 2 steps, get shot once and die thing doesn't happen in Halo. Unless someone's really good with the sniper rifle or the Spartan laser. For any other weapon, I mean... Most weapons don't, like, just insta-kill you, you know? Rockets, but rockets you don't have to be particularly great with. They have a pretty large margin of error, and to still work. I guess I like boomer shooter style a little bit more. Arena deathmatch with health and stuff like that appeals to me a lot more than like CS:GO or Call of Duty or Battlefield style where you die if you trip over a rock. Also, chat, Cherno keeps trying to get me to play Tekken 8 with them, but I don't wanna. Because fight game make Thor salty. Also, that shit's expensive. I might play it for a bit if it was free, but for $70, nah, I'm good. As much as I do enjoy playing games with Cherno, I'll pass on the $70 fighting game. I'm sorry, the $110 fighting game, because you need the Eddie Gordo pass to be able to do any labbing with him. Can't stand fighting games, it's so boring. I think fighting games are quite exciting. I like watching fighting games get played in tournaments and stuff like that. But I also understand that my skill set and ability to play does not particularly translate to fighting games all that well. And that overcoming the gap between where I am at fighting game skill and the next level of fighting game skill is a big gap. I am, like, in that above average part where I'm better than any of my friends by a fair bit, But when I play against the online players that I'm supposed to be at the same skill level, I get mauled into a pulp.
では
全て見つめますよろしい
ではこうしよ
目を背けないで展開しましょうそういいでしょう私の足元で許しを乞い
No,
な
not at all, Fabricio. And it really kind of depends on the fighting game. There are some fighting games where that is true. Because if there is what's known as touch of death on certain characters or team lineups or anything like that, then it literally is, oh no, I got hit. As long as he doesn't drop this combo, I die. But most of the time with fighting games, it is a legitimate back and forth, as long as the players are similarly skilled. And there have always been super exciting comebacks and stuff like that. I mean, Evo Moment 37 is like the most popular fighting game moment ever, and it is literally a massive comeback from an almost insurmountable deficit. For anyone that's never seen it, I'll pop it open. This is the most famous moment in all of fighting games. Street Fighter Third Strike. Alright, notice that Ken is almost dead. Chun-Li is very, very alive. Let's go, Justin! So, quick explanation for how this works. Parries in Street Fighter Third Strike works as follows. You must hit the forward input. You must walk into them at the exact moment of impact. And he does it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Jump for this one 15 times in a row. I don't know about you guys, but that's fucking awesome. And if he doesn't parry, he dies to chip damage during the block. Yeah, exactly. Pressing forward leaves you... Yeah, pressing forward, if you mistime it, you take the hit. If you block, you die. Everything about that situation was 100% the Ken should win. And the reason that the Ken lost is because the Chun-Li did one of the hardest possible things to do in the game, which is 15 near-frame perfect inputs in a row. And then also capitalized with a optimal punish to do just enough to win. That shit's hard. You have to be really good to do that stuff, especially under the pressure of I'm at a tournament, you know? Oh yeah, I did say it backwards. Like, everything said that Chun-Li should have 100% won there. Like, 99.9% of the time, Chun-Li just wins there. And then the 0.1% happened. And that's super cool. And that happens... That kind of stuff happens often enough in fighting game tournaments. That's very exciting. Most of the time. Most of the time. Sometimes there's, like... a really boring character that is the strongest character in the game, and then the fighting game tournament becomes just awful to watch. Guilty Gear Strive was subjected to that for the past while. where the most boring character in the game was also the strongest character in the game, so you got to see him all the time. Also, hiya, boy, my toy. How you doing? Bleh. Bleh. No good at memorizing inputs? So it's less memorizing inputs and more muscle memory, the inputs. I guess that's still technically memorizing. But it's the same with doing literally anything else, where you practice it again, until it just becomes second nature to you and just happens automatically. Happy Chaos. I think Nagoriyuki could also be nerfed a bit so that he's not top of the tier list forever as well, but Happy Chaos, I hate Happy Chaos. Happy Chaos is the most boring character ever in Guilty. Every time Happy Chaos is on screen, I root for not Happy Chaos to beat him. Shoot, bang, 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 chip damage, chip damage, chip damage, chip damage. Okay, now it's time to super because I ran out of resources. Oh, there's my resources back and infinite. Bang, 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 chip damage, chip damage, chip damage, chip damage. And now I gave you time to approach, and now I'm gonna hit you a few times. And back to bang, chip damage, chip damage. Ugh, fuck. Fuck Happy Chaos. Absolutely screw Happy Chaos. Oh, well, yeah, Alwyn Gamer, when it comes to combos and input memorization for a fighting game, that's one thing I had down relatively fine. That's practice it in between matches all the time, practice it before matches, practice it after matches, practice it while waiting for matches. Pick some combo stuff for you to do and make sure you keep doing it to the point that if you were asleep, while you're asleep, you're doing it. And then you don't even have to think about it. Once you hit that first hit, your hands will just instinctively follow up with the follow-ups. That's the point behind the practice. The problem is everything else. Anyone can put in the time to sit there and practice this same combo again and again and again and again until it's like second nature. The problem comes with learning the everything else in a fighting game. Because if you're coming into a fighting game with little to no experience, here's what you're going to have to start learning. You need to learn important things beyond just how does this combo work and what inputs do I press for do combo. You need to learn spacing. You need to learn how to defend without getting broken. You need to learn how to play neutral without getting caught. You need to learn how to capitalize when you don't hit the combo opener you've practiced, and instead how to convert from a different hit, because 9 times out of 10, they're probably aware of what your combo opener is and trying to not let you hit it. You need to learn how to get out of the corner if you get placed there without dying. And you also need to learn character-specific matchups, like this character is really difficult because they do this gimmick. How do I deal with it with my character? That kind of stuff, right? And the problem with fighting games is they're terrible at teaching you that stuff. They're better than they used to be. They're still bad at it. And the problem with learning fighting games, even beyond that, is if you try and learn that stuff by, like, going online and searching that kind of stuff, like, if you were to go right now to, say, Guilty Gear Strive, which has been out for 3 years. You searched how to play Soul, popular character. You're probably going to find a bunch of combo videos that'll show you the inputs and be like, here's some bread and butter combos for Soul. Here's basic stuff. Here's some advanced stuff. And that's combos. And that's helpful, but it doesn't bridge the gap of everything else. It doesn't teach you how to defend against a happy chaos and cover the distance without getting blasted into bits. It doesn't teach you how to use proper spacing to catch, like, Nagoriyuki trying to poke you. It doesn't show you how to capitalize on a hit that wasn't one of your combo openers you've been practicing. Which are all important things that you need to know how to do once you hit a certain level, or you will lose automatically. It doesn't matter how good you are at that combo. If someone is better than you at converting from a non-standard hit and knows how to defend against your standard combo opening, and that's all you know, you lose. Congratulations. It's really hard to go from, like, that 0 level and get past wall after wall after wall, because you're gonna hit wall after wall after wall unless you're, like, kind of naturally gifted in some of the skills for fighting games. And then eventually, and then each wall you hit is harder to climb than the last. The first wall is as simple as learning at something like, okay, how does a combo work? Okay, if I hit crouching medium kick and then instantly go into a Hadouken, that combos. The simplest combo in all fighting games for you. Crouching medium kick into Hadouken. That's your first wall barrier of fighting games. It is basically that. In learning how to not mash and how to actually string one hit into the next instead of mashing. And then from there, you're going to hit a harder wall. Learn a harder combo. A harder wall. Start learning how to defend and get yourself in the neutral game. A harder wall. Learn how to get out of the corner. A harder wall. And the walls keep getting harder and harder each one. And that's not a problem until you start running out of resources that help you learn how to climb that wall. Which you will unless you have contact with people that have climbed that wall before. Like, I was at the point in Guilty Gear Strive where I got to Heaven. That's the highest rank you can get. But the problem was I was not a Heaven level player, as indicated by the fact that I lost every match in Heaven. I didn't win a single round. Not one. I got fucking annihilated every single match. And then I went back to floor 10 of the palace, or the tower right below it, and then I would struggle a bit, get back into Heaven, and then get absolutely demolished again, and to the point where I wasn't even learning anything. To the point where I didn't even know what I could possibly do against the person because they're that much better than me. To the point where I couldn't even say I got some good hits in. I was just getting floored. And if you get to the point where the people are such a higher level than you that you don't even know what you can possibly do, it stops being a learning experience and just starts being you getting your ass kicked. And unless you have someone that can bridge that gap and help you a little bit, you're just going to get your ass kicked. And as much as the fighting game community loves to talk about how much they're very inclusive for new players and like to help them, my experience was that not a lot of people wanted to help. Maybe I was unlucky, but I did not get much help,
いい判断です。
if any, on my attempts to
それ
climb
は
that
絶えず
wall.
見た滅びの夢。最果てにありながら
Nobody was lending me a hand at that wall. Instead, they were actively kicking dirt in my face. Pouring grease on the wall as I try to climb it. Which is why
手に入らない
I'm very impressed anytime someone does climb that wall and shows professional level of fighting game skill, because I know it's very, very, very hard. You have to be very, very, very good and dedicated to the craft to get there.
落ちよロードレス
And I-
キャメロット
And I respect that. And I don't think that I can get there by myself, and even with help, I still think it would be quite the struggle,
いつも
and
なお反乱部
it's hard to live that struggle day in, day out until you overcome it. Like, I probably lost 100 matches in a row in heaven, and then I just said, I can't, man. I haven't taken a round at all at this level. It's beyond me. They're just too fucking good, man. And I tried. I tried really hard because, like I said, I think fighting games are cool. I think it's really cool when someone does the big cool thing in fighting game.
玉座の支
I
度は
wanted
で
to
きて
do
い
the
ます
big cool
目を
thing at
覚ま
least
せ
once in
いい
fighting
判
game.
断です
But
分断する
I just kept getting washed, guys.
モルゴース
I just kept getting buried in the dirt again and again and again.
では
さてどこから潰したものかいい判断です
Mashers, the people who enjoy them but get discouraged by those above, and the people who dedicate their lives to fighting games. Sort of. Like, there's different tiers of fighting game player levels. Definitely.
すべてのつもり式はこうしてあげるわ食べなさい宝具をよく言いました
Like, there's the dedicated casual tier, where
そう
you're gonna get in there and you're gonna press some buttons, and your opponent's gonna press some buttons, and it's,
落ちよ
you know,
ロード
one
レス
combo might come out, but mostly it's gonna be two people kind of flailing at each other until someone gets lucky enough to connect
逃
some
がす
stuff.
ものか
You know, your bottom of the barrel.
それでも勝負
And then there's your slightly higher, where you might know, like, a little bit of combo or a little bit of string, you know, a tiny bit about neutral and some minor game stuff there, but you're still not trying too hard. You're still very casual. Then there's the step above where you're intermediate. You know a couple combos, you're okay at the neutral game, you've got a little bit of defense in you, but you also know how to pressure and poke a little bit. Then there's your above intermediate, which is where I think I was, where you know your combos, you're solid at them, you can play neutral decently, but you still have some issues with your game plan. You might be over aggressive or over defensive and need to correct that kind of thing, or
いい目を
your
覚ませ
knowledge of certain matchups might be holding you back, definitely. But generally, you're still going to hit your combos when you get the opportunity. You have the ability to apply pressure, and neutral games, okay. And then there's the semi-professionals, the high tiers that are like, you know, a step or two below professional, which is like, that's the step, is upper intermediate to semi-professional is the next step, where, you know, they might go to a local every so often. They participate in a tournament now and again. They're always in the high ranks because they're a high rank player. And then there's the step above, which is literally your professional players. And then there's the step above, which are your god tier professional players, which are the ones that win the tournaments over and over again.
あまり悩ませない宝具いい判断です
But those are the general rankings, I think, that you can
神戸を垂れ
throw
よ
at fighting game players.
恐怖はない希望もない 何人も通るにあたわず
And the funny thing is that you get the exact opposites between Super Smash Bros. And all the other fighting games in distribution. In Super Smash Bros., you're going to have a million of the casual player that doesn't know shit about combos or strings. They're just pressing buttons and hitting stuff and getting a throw now and again and all that stuff. Maybe they'll throw some smash attacks in and have a good time. That's the majority of that player, which is the opposite in every other fighting game where that player almost is non-existent. And instead, it's the opposite where the majority is the semi-professional to professional tier where even if you're a relatively new player, there's a solid chance that some guy that's been playing this game for 10 years is going to show up and wipe the floor with you. Even with skill-based matchmaking, it can happen. Just because the distribution of players is lopsided in that direction. Like, if you've seen Chirno, our good friend Chirno, do some streaming of Tekken, he is clearly not at that level. But he has faced some people at that level. And that's not knocking Chirno. He's not put 10 years into playing Tekken. So you can't expect him to be at that level. But there are people he's faced that just stomp him. And Chirno should be playing against people that are closer to the intermediate level. But every so often, one of those guys that's above that above intermediate, that's hitting that semi-professional level, shows up in his match, and it's very clear because he just gets 3-0 the floor wiped with him. Maybe he takes a round, maybe. And it's just a very lopsided match in that situation. But fighting games, when it's like actually even between the players, and the players are similar skill levels, are really entertaining. As long as they're like at least 2 intermediate players, is still very fun. Sometimes even just 2 casual players going at it for funsies can be a good time. But as long as they're close to the same skill level and they're clashing, that's usually a really good time. In my opinion, at least. I think it's a very good spectator sport. And, you know, a very nice thing about it is that you don't need to know much about the fighting game in question in order to be able to enjoy watching it. That's one of the biggest weaknesses of MOBAs, like League of Legends and Dota 2, is if you're not keeping up with the meta and you start trying to watch it, and you don't know like what the new items or the new heroes are, or if you've never played a MOBA before in your life, you're going to have no idea what's going on. So that's one of the big strengths of fighting games as like an entertainment medium for watching. And yeah, Chirno does do some raging while playing Tekken. It's because he's hitting a similar point to what I was hitting. I think he can still climb a bit further before he gets there, but he's gonna start hitting that wall that I hit, where he's like above average, above intermediate, and starting to try and crest that hill, but what he doesn't know is at the top of the hill is a fucking monolith for him to climb over, built by the semi-pros and professionals, and as he tries to climb, they're spitting at him and pouring boiling oil at him, and every time he makes progress just a little bit, they throw a knife at his face, and it feels like you just can't make progress over that. And You know, if he does, I will be very impressed with him and very proud of him. I think that he'll probably need some assistance from, you know, people that are around that higher level to make it there. Because unless you're kind of like a savant at fighting games, that's a big gap. A very, very big gap. The difference between higher intermediate and the next level is the difference between heaven and earth.
弱き者醜き者式はこうした式はこうしてあげる
ではこうしよう
食べなさい手に入らないもの目に映るもの
ではこうしよ
よく言いまし
Just
た
double Morgan MP. Do it.
慈悲だ神戸を垂れよ恐怖はない希望もない難筆
And yeah, like,
通るにあたわず
honestly, 3D fighters have never been my jam. I've always liked the 2D fighters
それ
better.
は絶えず見た滅びの夢最果てにありながら鳥は
But,
ロードです
like if it's professional players in a tournament, I'll still check out
何
Tekken.
を喜んでいるのです
That shit's still impressive. I just don't have any personal. I don't really have any personal desire to play a 3D fighter. Never have. Even as a kid, I didn't think Tekken was all that cool. I thought that Street Fighter was, and then eventually stuff like Blaze Blue and all that. And by the way, that wall exists in any competitive game. And that wall is the same distance in any competitive game. The difference between fighting games and another genre, like, say, a
う
MOBA,
火星に滅ぼしてくれよ
is in the amount
どこから
of
潰したもの手に入らない
material that exists to help you overcome that wall.
目をいい判断
Because if I go to League of Legends or Dota 2 and type in something like how to play insert character name here, I will find professionals doing in-depth videos for 3 hours that talk about all the mechanics of the character, their thought process while they play, what items are good to build and why they build it, how to lane, how to transition from early game to mid game, how to come back if you're in a bad position, how to team fight. It'll go over every single aspect of the game that you can possibly think of.
あまり悩ませないいい目を背けないで分断する
And fighting games just don't tend to have that level of depth in the assistance
戦う前に勝つくらい
that's put out to the general public. The only way to get that level of depth learning fighting games is to have an actual person who knows all that stuff be able to coach you in that stuff. And also, because Dota is a multiplayer, co-op PvP, guess what? Even the people that are against you have it in their best benefit to make sure that you know how to play, because next game they might be on your team instead of against. So it's in their best interest to make sure that everyone at their level knows how to play at their level and isn't, you know, garbage and getting stomped every time that they play. It might be helpful for them now while they're on the enemy team, but if they get you on their team 3 games in a row, it stopped being helpful 3 games ago, you know?
では
あまり悩ませないようにいい判
つまらん
断です目を背けないで分断する
罠だ
魔女ですの
But yeah, that's why I personally very much enjoy fighting in tournaments, is because it is just very impressive to me. It is a very impressive skill that takes a lot of work and dedication.
恐怖はない希望もない難人も
And it looks really cool when someone does it super well. The same reason why I still watch some StarCraft Brood War. I'll watch professional Brood War tournaments all fucking day. That shit is cash money and super awesome. And that one resonates with me even more because I was much better at Brood War than I ever was at any fighting game. At least as Zerg. I was not very good at it. Well, I gotta say this, Flamerai, when you say fighting game professionals don't know how to think. I think what they forget is the fact that they had like stuff like local tournaments to go to and people to learn from in that kind of situation where you start off as opponents and then it gets friendly and you start like talking back and forth about what works, what doesn't work, yada yada. For someone that doesn't have that while growing up or while trying to learn, like if you live in a rural area, like some people who could I possibly be referring to? Some people live in a really rural area and couldn't possibly go to any local tournament, and thus at best they have online stuff, and unless you get really lucky and meet an online player that's willing to, you know, go with you with that kind of stuff, that are good enough to teach you, good luck, man. Good luck getting past that barrier of above intermediate to the next level, because that next level will be insane. And then the next level from semi-professional to professional is another insane barrier, and that one you're not getting help on. That one is going to have to be all you, because that's the point where the only thing that's going to get you from semi-pro to pro is actually dedicating insane amounts of time to knowing every matchup, every mechanic, all the frame data, all that stuff. Did I play in Brood War tournaments? Yeah, I did a couple. When it came to, like, my local area, I was the best Brood player, but that doesn't say a whole lot. I was better than my friends in school. Okay. Guess what? I was better than all my friends in school at fighting games, too. You see that didn't do a whole lot. But I was okay at Brood War. I wouldn't say I was good. I was better than a lot of people, but let me tell you the straight truth, chat. Most people fucking suck at video games. Like, nearly everyone in the world that plays video games sucks at video games. This is the truth. It's not hard to be better than, like, 80 to 90% of people that play any random video game. But being better than people that are good at the video game, that's the hard part. That's the hard part. And really for Brood War, for me, I think I could have continued getting better if I just played the shit out of it. Like, I could feel myself getting better when I did play the shit out of it. But, like I said, I would have to play an ungodly amount of time to have gotten past the B rank barrier into A rank and beyond. And I joined some tournaments for Brood War for funsies just to see how good I could do, and mostly just got stomped by the actually really good players. But I learned that I wasn't horrible. I just was definitely not a professional level player. That's for sure. And nowadays, for a game like Brood War, which is like 26 years old, came out in 1990, actually 99, so 25 years old. StarCraft 1 was 98, and then Brood War was 99. For a game like that, if I were to like try and go back to it and get there, oh man, I bet the vast majority of people that play that game are killers. And there aren't a whole lot of, well, I haven't played for a long time. Let's see how this feels. Oh boy, am I a lot slower and out of practice. And everything feels worse than it ever did before. Level of people, you know what I mean? That being said, like, the strategy of Brood War, I've certainly kept up with, because I still watch Brood War tournaments. I watch Artosis and Tasteless cast stuff and whatnot, because it's endlessly entertaining for me. But the mechanics of actually playing it are an entirely different story. Game is very, very hard to play good. Actually, you know what? Fuck you. Throws 2 roadless Camelots out. Also, I hope I'm not boring chat by talking about my old man games. Oh right, I didn't get bonus damage against Finn because I think he counts as divine rather than man. That's why he didn't die. Oh, I guess they did take over the East Coast. Huh, okay. Off to Des Moines! I really did forget a fair bit of Plurubus Unum. However, chat, I will say this. I am better at shit-talking than anyone in the fighting game business.
ではこうしよ
式はこうしてあげるもの。いい反目を背けないで死になさい。
As I told Chirno earlier today when we did that group stream together, ain't no way I can play Tekken 8 because I'd have to remind all these bitches that I'm Hin Kazama.
さてどこから潰したもの。暗きみよく言いました。それは絶えず見た滅びの夢。最果てにありながら鳥は明日を歌うでしょう。ロードレスキャメロ。
Play every single match wearing a Jaguar mask because I'm already the
何
king.
を喜んでいるのです。私が出たのです。勝利は約束されていたはずです。
Put you up on my shoulders to help you see God, but there ain't no God where you're going, only command throws.
戦闘なるべくは避けたいこう、ではこうしよ
手に入らないのなら目を背けない。よく言いました。死になさい。分断する。
Roll up on someone playing Testament and Strive and do the mirror matchup just so I can perform a they/them.
目を背けない。よく目を背けないで逃がすものか。死になさい。モルゴース。
God, please, you're supposed to shit talk with me. There's supposed to be super loud ohs in the background.
手に入らないのならいい判断です。目を背けないで。慈悲だ。神戸を垂れよ。恐怖はな希望もな何人も通るにあたわず。やっと血がたぎってきたのに終わりだなんて。いつの世も反乱分。
My God, what is my current AP at? I haven't even thought about it for a while. Ah, 2,893, of course.
「弱き者、醜き者であれば不満はありません。むしろ上がります。いい判断です。よくいい判断です。死になさい。逃がす者か分断する。 あまり悩ませないように楽しくなるでしょ。よく暗目を背けない。
Wonder how many times I've seen Morgan do roadless Kaminoff in all my time playing FGO.
最果てにありながら鳥は明日を歌うでしょう。ロードレスキャメロ。
It's gotta be like thousands.
簡単に終わらないような手に入らないよ。よく目を背けないで逃がすものか。魔女ですので。慈悲だ。神戸を垂れよ。恐怖はな希望もな何人も 通るにあたわず。
最上に近い勝利。戦う前に勝つくらいでなければ。
Bum ba bum. Ba da ba ba. Bum ba dum.
出陣します。私の後に続きなさい。
ではこうしよ
よく目を背けないで死になさ
う。罠だ。
い。逃がす者か。よくいい判断です。死になさい。簡単に終わらないように。
ではこうしよ
目によく言いました。それは絶えず見た滅びの夢。最果てにありながら鳥は明日を見たんでしょう。ロードレスキャメロ。簡単に終わらないように目を背けないで。慈悲だ。神戸を垂れよ。恐怖はない。希望もない。何人も通るにあたわず。
最上に近い勝利。戦う前に勝つくらいでなければ。
Ba ba ba.
我が進化よ。玉座の支度はできていますよ。さて、どこから潰したものか。さて、どこから潰したものか。いい判断です。慈悲だ。神戸を垂れよ。恐怖はない。希望もない。何人も通るにあたわず。逃がす者か。
Starting to actually hit that getting tired point.
私が出たのです。勝利は約束され。
Maybe finish it tomorrow, maybe. Maybe I'll take a break after Plurubus Unum's done and then we finish tomorrow.
始めましょう。勉強を。
目を背けない。よく言いました。逃がすものか。
落第です。
How long does FGO still go for? For the end of part 1, after E Pluribus Unum, we've got Camelot, Babylonia, and Solomon. And Camelot is where a massive difficulty spike hits, and it gets much harder.
あまり悩ませないように。暗き湖よ。来たれ。それは絶えず見た滅びの夢。最果てにありながら鳥は明日を迎えるでしょう。ロードレスキャメロ。さてどこから潰したもの。
現代起立。
よく言いました。
世界は学びに満ちている。ならば今こそ人は学ぶ時。知識こそが悪を断つ。マハープラーヤ。
やっと血がたぎってきたのに終わりだなんて。いつの世も反乱分子は物足りませんね。
And considering we're taking, like, for the most part, going as fast as we can. Aside from when I was explaining stuff here and there. And it's taking, like, 1 to 2 hours per arc, just blasting through them pretty quickly. Probably going to be a total of 12 hours of time when I'm done. Maybe even a little more.
一気火星に滅ぼしてくれよ。やるぞ、マスター。
すべて見つめます。よろしい。目を背けない。いい判断です。死になさい。分断する。モルゴース。すべて見つめます。よろしい。手に入らないのよ。いい判断です。そう、いいでしょう。私の足元で許しを乞いなさい。落ちよ、ロードレスキャメロット。モルゴース、消えなさい。光栄の夢。私は本気です。
犠牲が少なければそれでも勝利。
Shouldn't be too much longer. Coffee. Hey, Nutty Caseline. I think after E Pluribus Unum, we're gonna like pause the timer, and then I'm starting to legit get tired because I've been up for 19 hours now. Little bit of time. Tiny bit.
指揮はこうしてあげるもの。よく目を背けない判断です。分断する。死になさい。魔女ですので。 よくいい判断です。慈悲だ。神戸を垂れよ。恐怖はない。希望もない。何人も通るにあたわず。あまり悩ませない。すべて見つめます。
Born and jaded.
よろしい。目を背けないするもの。死になさの灰に逃がすものか。
最上に近い勝利だ。戦う前に勝つくらいでなければ。
A hiccup. Take a look, it's in a book, Reading Rainbow.
我が進化よ。玉座の支度はできていますか。さてどこから潰したの。
ではこうしよ
手に入らないの。目をよく言いました。そういいでしょう。私の足元で許しを乞いなさい。落ちよロードレスキャメロット。逃がすものか。潰れなさい。無礼者。諦めなさい。何を喜んでいるのです。私が出たのです。勝利は約束されていたはずですわ。
Up a duppa. Honestly, this is taking longer than I first anticipated it would.
戦闘
さ
なるべく
あまり悩ませない。楽しくなるでしょ。目を
Honestly, I think the thing that I wasn't accounting for was how much
いいでしょう。
unskippable
私の足元で
animation
許しを乞いなさい。
time there would be.
ロードレスキャメロット。そういいでしょう。私の足元で許しを乞いなさい。
Not just for like noble phantasms and stuff, but I mean also for the end of the battle finish here, and then battle start, and then all that other
い
stuff.
つ
You
の
know,
世も反乱部。
I underestimated how much time that stacks up to. You know. Orgus MP is kind of short, kinda. It's definitely not the longest MP animation out there. And of course, also loading into battle.
任せなさい。ふさわしい敵であれば容赦なく。よく目を背けないで逃がすものか。
罠だ。
内側から終わる。よくいい判断です。分断する。
計略だ。
すべて見つめます。よろ
では
しい。
こうしよ
目をいい判断ました。逃がすものか。死になさい。逃がすものか。簡単に終わらないように暗き目を背けないで。それは絶えず見た滅びの夢。最果てにありながら鳥は明日を歌うでしょう。ロードレスキャメロ。やっと血がたぎってきたのに終わりだなんて。いつの世も反乱分子は物足りませんね。
Oh yeah, hey chat. Did you see the latest episode of Invincible? Where Totally Not Spider-Man showed up to fight Totally Not Doc Ock? No? Oh, well, some multiverse shenanigans happen and Totally Not Spider-Man shows up. I think he's even voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who voices Spider-Man in the latest games and plenty of the animated series too.
仕方あるまい。
よく言いまし、よくいい判断です。死になさい。死になさい。死になさい。
では
すべて見つめます。よろしい。
Legally distinct Spider-Man.
よく言いました。
Even Batman shows up. Haven't watched a hero show in a while? Oh, Invincible's good. Invincible's quite good.
So, いいでしょう。私の足元で許しを乞いなさい。落ちよ、ロードレスキャメロット。やっと血がたぎってきたのに終わりだなんて。いつの世も反乱分子は物足りませんね。
Ruin the show by not peeping the space bug peep. Look, it's fine. Space bug people will be hot again in the future, I promise. Maybe. Possibly.
任せなさい。手に入らないのなら、手に入らないのなら。さて、どこから潰したものか。 いい判断です。メニューいい
And
判
the
断
best part about Invincible
逃が
is,
すものか
in my opinion at least, how absolutely devastated the characters are allowed to get. Even the heroes get
希望もな
completely
く
bodied.
通るにあたわず分断する無礼者諦めなさい
最上に近い勝
Which is good.
利戦う前に勝つくらいで
Sometimes your hero needs to get the shit beat out of them. If your hero never gets the shit beat out of them, it becomes boring. Invincible takes the sometimes part and makes it all the time though. The hero spends more time getting ass beat than kicking ass, which is honestly, it's kind of cool.
「我が進化よ玉座の支度はできていますか?」
ではこうしよ
よ
つまらん
くいい判断です逃がすものか
うなんだ
逃がすものか手に入らないのならあまり悩ませないようにいい判断よく言いました逃がすものか内側から壊れ内側から壊れさてどこから潰したものいい判断言いました慈悲だ神戸を垂れよ恐怖はない希望もない何人も通るにあたわず何を喜んでいるのです私が出たのです勝利は約束されていたはずですわ
All right, chat. Question, what's scarier? Goku in Ultra Instinct, but his gi is completely intact, or Goku in base form, but his gi is completely ripped off and his chest is completely exposed? Which Goku do you run from? I'm hoping to see some correct answers in chat
ふ
soon.
さわしい敵であれば容赦なく
ではこうしよ
目をよく言いました死になさい魔女ですので分断する
Neither I can't run. Technically correct.
簡単に終わらないよ
うではこうしよ
うにいい判断です
Correct answer is the Goku with the gi torn off his body because that Goku's going for blood.
恐怖は希望もない何人
Thank you, Kodango, for the
通る
follow.
にあたわずあまり悩ませないように 暗きいい目を背けないで。そういいでしょう。私の足元で許しを乞いなさい。落ちよロードレスキャメロット。何を喜んでいるのです。私が出たのです。勝利は約束されていたはずですわ。我が進化よ。玉座の支度はできていますか？
ではこうしよ
あまり悩ませないように。いい判断です。よく言いました。逃がす者か。モルゴース。
なんだ。あるか。
目にいい判断です。慈悲だ。神戸を垂れよ。恐怖はない。希望もない。何人も通るにあたわず。さてどこから潰したもの。多く目を背けないで。慈悲だ。神戸を垂れよ。恐怖はない。希望もない。何人も通るにあたわず。何を喜んでいるのです。私が出たのです。勝利は約束されていたはずですわ。
Really is repetitive in part 1. Well, there is the fact that we have very strong servants to work. But yes. Yes. The fact of the matter is that the game is much more visual novel that is way better experienced as the story than the gameplay. And the unfortunate fact is that part 1 is kind of padded with a lot of worthless fights. After part 1, we start getting less worthless fights that are just kind of padding and start getting more fights that are more tied to the main storyline. Which means the number of fights in general goes down, but the quality of the fights goes up.
最上に近い勝利。戦う前に勝つくらいでなければ。
They stop having Oh Hey Wyverns show up here too. You'll notice that Wyverns show up fucking everywhere in part 1 of FGO up until I guess Camelot is where stuff starts to improve gameplay-wise. There's still plenty of filler battles in it, but the non-filler battles start getting better, and the actual filler battles start to get less repetitive and less common. But there's a whole lot of, as you can see, I'm fighting a bunch of worthless mooks. And, you know, they're not particularly strong. Part 1's the ARR FGO. Sort of. From Orleans through Plurubus Unum of Part 1, there is not the best storyline that you're going to read, and honestly, you can skip a pretty solid portion of it without missing out on too much. Fuyuki is still good, and, like, Okeanos is pretty fine. But once you hit Camelot, and from Camelot, Babylonia, and Solomon are excellent. They are all three of them very, very good. Especially the storylines. Stories are very good. But yes, it's a bit of a slog up until then. And I'd say that Orleans, Okeanos, London, and even Pluribus Unum you can read and find some enjoyable parts to them. Septum sucks. London's the next worst one in that bunch, in my opinion. But, I wouldn't particularly blame people if they want to skip those 4 to 5 parts story-wise and then just spend their time on nothing but the good stuff. Wouldn't be the worst thing you could do. You'll miss out on a couple things that might get referenced here and there, but it's not gonna be. And once you get to Camelot, congratulations, you get to very much enjoy good writing, good story, good character interactions. And it gets better in Solomon, or Babylonia afterwards, and it stays great in Solomon. You just gotta get there. So, very similar to ARR in FF14. If you're willing to get through the slog, the quality shoots way up. But hey, I knew I was getting myself into. I played this shit before. Hey, there's
出陣
Kualter.
します
That means we're
私
almost
は
done
強いぜ
ではこうしよ
on this bitch. He's not allowed to move.
式はこうしてあげるもの食べなさい
う。では
手に入らないほういい目を背けないで慈悲だ神戸を垂れよ恐怖はない希望もない何人も通るにあたわずモルゴース許す者か無礼者諦めなさいさてどこから潰したものか目をいい判断です天死にな
The
さい
guy she tells you not to read. What do I think about the quality of the story of Lost Belts 1 through 5? They're all good.
戦う前に勝つくらい
Every single Lost Belt story is good. However, the best one is 6. But there's not a bad Lost Belt story at all. The Part 1.5 stories, when we get to them, we'll talk a little bit more about them. Basically, Agartha's pretty bad, and the others are middling to solid. No? But haven't had a Lost Belt I've disliked yet. I've liked every single Lost Belt story,
戦
which is good.
闘なるべくは避けたい行為だ仕方あるまい
さてどこからあまり悩ませないあまり悩ませ
Don't move.
ない楽しくなるでし
Freeze!
ょ目に映るものすべてを灰によく言いました
Hey, chat.
慈悲だ神戸を垂れよ恐怖は
You guys remember how Haruhi Suzumiya,
通るに
the
あたわ
anime,
ず
had the Endless Eight, where they had
魔女ですの
like
死になさい
an entire half of the season just be a time loop in August, right? Because it was a terrible decision. But what if, and follow me here, what if another anime series literally did that again?
いい判断ですよく言いました
Doing it a second time would be the most hilarious thing ever, wouldn't it be?
分断す
It would be the greatest shitpost in anime history to do it
る
again,
それは
right?
絶えず見た滅びの夢最果てにありながら鳥は明日を見たんでしょうロードレスキャメ
何かがおかしい
ロやっと血がたぎってきたのに終わりだなんていつの世も反乱分子は物足りませんね
For those that don't know, the Endless Eight is quite literally 8 episodes that are almost exactly the same as each other. Because living in a time loop, and there's maybe a little difference here and there, but they reanimated every single thing that happened again by hand, and then recorded and had voice acting for all the same lines again. And the extra weird part is that I only found this out when looking here, but apparently in Haruhi's The Disappearance of Haruhi light novel, the light novel does go over and say, hey, Kyun was in a time loop for a bit of time. And all it does is go over him breaking the time loop and him being in the final loop and stuff like that. And I think in total it's like 40 pages, something like that. And then KyoAni, the geniuses that they are like, what if we stretch 40 pages to 8 full episodes? But yes, that basically killed the Haruhi series entirely. It's memorable because it took one of the most popular anime series. Like, season 1 was massively popular and just absolutely killed it. Took it out back and put a bullet through the face, right between the eyes. Because Haruhi was, it was pretty unique compared to a lot of what other anime was doing at the time, and had some very interesting stuff. And then Endless 8 was very different in general because it lacked the stuff that made Haruhi interesting Haruhi stuff, other than the fact, hey, Kyon's in a time loop. That's like the only thing that was still interesting Haruhi stuff, right? But like I said, chat, think about how fucking funny it would be if they did it again. It would be the most hilarious thing in the world for it to happen again. While also being the saddest thing. Imagine the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya returns. And it's just Endless 8 again. They just reanimated Endless 8 again. I feel like 3 loops would have been fine, but 8. Hey, guess what? There is, you know, a really popular anime series that's based on a visual novel that is completely about being trapped in a loop and to escape it. It's called Higurashi no Nakokoro ni. You know why it worked? Is because each loop was noticeably different from each other. You know why Endless 8 didn't work? Is because each loop was noticeably the fucking same, but with a different shirt on this time from each other. Like, I'd say that's the crux of where Endless 8 failed. Is just the simple fact that they decided to have them be basically the exact same loop each time with very minor differences, rather than starting the same and then having like something clearly different happen. And then maybe have Kyon have like some memory there where it's like, Wait a second. This seems familiar, but isn't this supposed to happen eventually, you know, something like that? Then it maybe could have worked a little bit. Maybe. Even then, it would have been questionable. For 8 episodes to be like that. 8 is a big number. I think Hollow Roxy adaptation could be interesting if they ever decide to adapt it. Could be. I kind of doubt they will. Apparently, the Fate route of Fate Stay Night is finally getting a readaptation. It's happening, chat. Finally, no more CGI dragon. Instead, it will be hardcore. An hour long of proper mana transfer. But yeah, I do actually hope that it'll be a great adaptation of the Fate route. The Dean adaptation was honestly pretty fine up until the part where they decided let's merge all 3 routes for the ending. Then it became much less fine. Actually doing a speedrun. Well, sort of. This has been more of a tutorial on how to catch up to current content if you're brand spanking new to the game. And over the past 10.5 hours, I've gone through pretty much all the different game mechanics and what I would suggest doing, getting and all that stuff. And I'm probably gonna like pause the timer and then continue this tomorrow soon. I've been awake for 20 hours. Am I tired? A little bit. Once the 20-hour hit, that's where it starts being tired. That would be why I think I'll take a break after Plurubus Unum. And that way my brain can function properly as we enter into Camelot and stuff. Do I recommend new players to reroll? Not really. I said you can if you really, really want to, but I don't think you should need to, because even if you get Heracles, it's likely you're probably gonna like start ignoring him once you get the stuff that's just better than him. He stays good, but there's just stuff that's better than him. And so whatever your starting 4-star for free in the tutorial is really doesn't matter that much at the end of the day. If you're, and I said, if you're really, really trying to be as optimal as you possibly can for the game, then reroll till you get Heracles, and then let him be your big, strong bond point carry eventually. A single Buster card. What can you do? Yeah, I did say there are a couple servants that suck the big one, and you might want to reroll those. Stheno being one of them. And especially because the onboarding for new players has become so much better. That like re-rolling to have a great start with your account is so much less necessary because you get to start with a 5-star for free and then also start with it max ascended for free. And if you are like this account where I just went and did a 10 pull the second I had 30 Saint Courts and Morgan came to me, then you get to just start with her as your ascended to max ascension for free. And that's a pretty damn good servant, you know? Look, chat, if there was ever a banner that I could actually one-shot the 5-star SSR pool, it's Morgan Le Fay. She's my most pulled 5-star by infinity, okay? If anyone's gonna show up for me, it's her. I know that in this harsh world where everyone hates me, she's got my back. Oh, perfect. Are we done storming the Capitol? Are January 6th over yet? See what I said, Pen Sage. My suggestion was to, if one of like 5 or 6 servants on a list that I have are available, then pull for them, reroll for them, yada yada until you get them because they're that good. And if none of them are available on a banner right now, then just take what you get and start saving up and wait for them to get on banner. And my list of servants was top priority Castor Artoria, easily top priority. Next best priority is a 3-way tie between Morgan Le Fay, Arjuna Altar, and Koyan Sky of the Light. If you get Morgan or Arjuna Altar, then ignore the other one. And then go Koyan Sky of the Light, Mabel, then Merlin, then Lady Avalon. And then if you look at some quick servants and like them, then you can think about Scotty and Scotty, but quick is just worse. Summer Ibuki is gonna contend with both Morgan and Arjuna. That's true. She'll be pretty much lined up with those two as similar priority. I have her on JP, so I know the comparison between her and the others. And I'd say they're pretty much on the same tier. I personally like Morgan slightly more than the other two, but it's by such a small amount that they're very interchangeable. But what I think is not interchangeable is the fact that the anyway, the fact that the support servants are the best servants to go for in general, and only go for one of those damage dealers, and then hard focus getting a copy of each support servant. Because at the end of the day, the thing that makes these servants that are strong so strong is the supports enabling them. If you don't have Caster Artoria, then Swimsuit Ibuki Doji is much weaker than if you do. Like, much, much weaker. Same with Morgan without Koyanskaya or Merlin, etc. This game is just very clearly the supports are the heroes, and the damage dealers live and die by the supports, well, supporting them. like I mentioned while we've been playing through this, I was like, oh man, dealing so little damage with Morgan. If I had her actual supports, we'd be doing an easy million to opponents with a Buster crit. Right now, we're like struggling to hit 140k or so. And I also made sure that everyone knew, this is important, chat, and everybody else, is that this game is 100% very free-to-play friendly, and you can beat all this stuff with nothing but absolutely free-to-play servants. Not a single 5-star or 4-star in your group, you can do all this stuff. It's just going to be a little harder, and you're going to have to put a little more time into it. That's all. If you want to go on easy street, then you go for those really good 5-stars that I talked about. Ooh, no crit, damn. I know my stuff? Yeah, I've been playing this game a while. I have both a JP and an NA account, so I've got a pretty solid idea of how everything works. And of course, the entirety of Part 1 can be carried by just having a solid support servant on your friends list or follow list. And then you throw a support or two to keep them alive. Oh, congratulations, Halphus. You buffed yourself 3 times. What a play, I guess. What a play, man. Just buff yourself 3 times and die. That's hilarious. We've done it. E Pluribus Unum is in the books. That was, I believe, the last quest for it. There we go. North America has been freed from the clutches of the Irish. That's the plot of E Pluribus Unum, guys. Irish take over North America. Oh, we got a copy of Geronimo, the best servant ever. Kappa. All right, E Pluribus Unum is done and dusted. Nice. Oh. Hold on. Not keep pausing. Oh, I don't have one. There we go. Boop. Alright, so... I think I'm gonna take a break, and I'm gonna go to sleep like a normal person instead of staying up for another few hours. And then we'll do the hard stuff of part 1 next time.